kind of surreal. I don't know about you. Like when you saw that roll across your phone, like obviously we all probably had a good idea this was coming, but what was your initial thoughts of him gone? Maybe like one of those things that crossed your mind, like a memory or him being drafted, like how fun that was. It was a lot more difficult than I thought it would be at the end of the day.
Truthfully, the first thing that hit me was just relief. Relief that there might be some sanity in Bears Twitter again, relief that we could start talking about where the Bears are going as opposed to debating whether where they've been is enough. Um, and I always struggle with this stuff personally because it's like once I feel like I have a pretty good idea of where the path is, I want to talk about where it's going. Right? It's I really struggle to sit in the once I think and I had a pretty good idea that this is where they were going through back channels and people that I talked to here and there that the debate was over, and I have a really hard time continuing that debate once I feel that way. But it was also kind of a thing where it's like it's hard to talk about other stuff because it's all anyone wants to talk about, you know? So
Mhm.
it was a major relief to me, but I have to say the more nostalgic feeling didn't really hit me at all until just now in pre-show when I was pulling up, plays to talk about and like moments that were, maybe favorite moments from Fields' time here. Because going back and watching some of those, it was like just the energy and the hope that those brought. Like those did just hit me pretty well.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because it's I was listening to the radio today, and one of the guys on the radio put it well. Like, we're not used to watching good quarterback play, right? And we got
Yeah.
that from Justin, just not in spurts like that we needed. So I think that's why this is so odd because he is so talented, and there is a absolute path in the NFL for him to succeed in Pittsburgh or wherever he goes next after there. And I think that that's why I don't want to turn the page too quickly yet. I still want to talk about Justin, but it's to me, I sit in there and I'm like, man, whoever they bring in next, they better do whatever they can to make sure that athlete has whatever that they need. Because I sometimes I feel like we're in like the twilight zone over the last couple. It's like draft a guy with a lot of talent, and then he doesn't get it done, and they change coaches 17 times while he's here, and throw 7 different systems at him, and it's like as a fan and as somebody who like goes to the games every week, season ticket holder, like I really hope that this is the time they've gotten it right. And I like polls, but at the end of the day, all these guys are talented. That's what I kind of want to say to everybody. They come out of college, they have attributes. Caleb maybe is more talented than anybody we've seen come in here. And if that's going to be the route they go, then that's great. But it's still like any other sport, like any other job, like anything in the world. It comes down to nurturing talent and developing talent and putting him in situations to succeed. And I love Keenan Allen and I love what they're doing, but there's more to this that I hope the Bears see. I hope they see that there's reasons they continue to make mistakes and to right those mistakes. I hope that this is the one they get right. And I hope that Caleb is open minded too to like putting his nose in there and telling him the way he feels. Because sometimes I feel like both these last two quarterbacks and Mitch and Fields, they kind of sat and they kind of just went for the ride. And the Bears screwed that up. And it ended up being that they were riding around on a Chicago Pace bus headed into Lake Michigan. So I don't know. I love it. I love Fields and I wish him the best, but I sit here as a worried fan and I'm like, man, like I don't know enough. And that's why I sit and cue like walk me off the edge a little bit on a little bit of this.
So I think I really like what you said there about both. Mitch and Fields, and it's in two very different ways in my
Sure.
mind. It's, I think Mitch was very much along for the ride. Aw shucks, just happy to be here. You know, that was very much his personality, it felt like. While Fields, I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense, but I have a hard time saying along for the ride. I think Fields was your good soldier. You know, he's gonna do what he's asked to do. He's gonna follow out orders over and over. But he's not gonna push back very much. I don't think on anything, which is something that I think you will get more of with a guy like Caleb Williams in good and bad ways. But the good outweighs the bad. You hope. You look at guys like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Pat Mahomes. You think they don't push back? There's some bad stuff there too, but they're good enough that they can. And that's what I'm thinking you get with a Caleb Williams.
Thank God.
I mean, it's next to nothing for Fields, right? A sixth that can become a fourth if he plays 51% of the snaps. I think Fields is going to get some run in Pittsburgh. 51% seems like a lot. I don't know that I can count on that very much for it to become a fourth round pick, because you got to believe Russ is going to play near half the snaps at least before he's yanked. And especially if you combine any injury history with Fields, that becomes a risky proposition. But really, though, I don't know that I feel that bad about the compensation, if I'm being honest here, though, because I look at it as, one, you want to do right by Fields. So your best compensation you were probably getting would have been a third round pick early in the process. It sounds like, from everything I'm hearing, a third to a fourth round pick, let's say. You wait this long and you end up getting rid of him at this point in time. A bunch of other teams have their solutions. There's no real market. Like, who are you? You can't pit anyone against each other. Everyone already has their answers. You're talking about a backup quarterback. No one's giving real capital for that. And especially once they know that you want to do right by this player, or you're giving him say in where he might end up, you have no real leverage on the trade market, right? You're just trying to get him out the door to his next place for his sake, for your sake, for everyone's sake there. Give him the best chance you can. Now, I will say, every time Ryan Poles speaks, I don't know that we've heard him say a lie. Like, he is very honest, and this might be the first time that honesty burned him.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way that I'm seeing it, and I honestly am pretty okay with it, because I really appreciate the honesty that he brings to the podium. And this is just probably the cost of it. Like, we have a GM who we can really trust and analyze what he is telling us, because he hasn't given us a reason not to in 2 years. A lot of GMs, I mean, I don't know if you remember the last few here, you couldn't really, like, they didn't say anything. Like, you couldn't believe it, understand a thing that they were saying at the podium sometimes. Ryan Poles, he's usually pretty transparent. He might hold some stuff back, but you can kind of diagram what he's thinking by what he's saying.
Yeah, I think what he traded, and obviously there's some reports out there that Justin wanted to go to Pittsburgh. This is a destination that he okayed for him to go. And there are some reports out there that Ryan Poles passed up on maybe some better compensation for Justin Fields to send him and do right. I think that in terms of this, maybe it buys more player trust within the locker room too, because there's a lot of bad out there too, that you were talking about, Justin Fields being that huge man in the locker room that everybody looked at and respected. And now that's out the door. And now there's somebody else coming in. It's an awkward situation for whoever comes in here next. They're going to have to buy some respect. You're going to have to buy that locker room back out. But I think, like, in terms of Brian Poles and his relationship with his players, it probably 100%, makes them feel confident that they're going to be told what he believes, comfortable or uncomfortable. I think that that's something too that is a huge asset for him, at least when he's negotiating and trying to sign players or bring guys in via the draft. It's something he can lean on. But yeah, maybe this is there was a better offer out there, and he was able to get him off the books, but he could have gotten better for the franchise. But I don't know. There just didn't seem like much of a market, like you said, for Justin. Post, and everybody knows you're taking a quarterback at 1, and you're not going to have both those there.
If someone came in during the combine and offered them a second-round pick, I think it would have been done. Right. I don't think it would have mattered who it was. I just don't think anyone was giving that at the end of the day.